I'm so glad you're back on the podcast.
Well, hello.
Audience, she's here. I mean, she's like been playing hard to get. I don't know where she no,
Oh,
just playing.
I tell
Tell
you
them what's been
what's been going on. Come here. This is why I've been busy. Come here. Come here. Shh. Hold on. Let me see if she'll come out. Come here. Come here. This is my new Steve I love so much, and she takes up all of my time. This is Anise. She is my foster dog. Actually, I rescued her, and yeah. So that's been part of the reason. I have a new baby. You know how
okay.
new moms are.
Yep, new moms. You had your maternity leave, and now
Yes,
she's back.
I'm back. Yes, we got her a little bit more trained, so now I can have her in the house, and she's kind of free roaming, and I don't have to worry about stuff too much.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're good. And she already has a potential adopter, and I've only had
Ooh.
her for a little over a month.
Okay, you have to tell me about this because, like, give me the details because you were telling me that your foster dog I don't know, you have a transport like tell me about it because I it's so unfamiliar and I
Yeah,
don't know if people in the audience out there like if they need to foster dogs and just have a place to give them or like tell us about it because I
yeah,
think
okay.
that
Hi, thank you so much for joining the Falling for Learning podcast. We have this podcast to help parents and caregivers with having the resources, strategies, and tools needed to make sure that their children are on track for learning and to stay on track for success.
it's
So I have
amazing.
this thing. People collect different things. Some people collect coins. Some people collect vintage, you know, milk glass vases. I collect dogs. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't keep them because I would have 20 dogs, and that's just
Mm-hmm.
not sustainable. So I partnered with Three Little Pitties, which is here in Texas, an amazing rescue. And uh, they're very well established. They have a great program. They have a great veterinarian program. They have a great training program. Beautiful facility. The dogs are kept safe and they're exercised. They have tons of volunteers. So whenever I find a
Okay.
dog that I know would make an amazing pet, I just tell them, hey, I found this dog. I am willing to foster. Can you help me find her a good family? And that's what they do. They have a social media crew that you know puts this great montage together for her. Like she's got like little glamour shots, little video.
Oh.
I'm a niece. I'm
Oh,
fat.
her glamour roll, okay. What
Yes,
else do you call that? Like when kids are being scouted or they want to be scouted for the teams, they have like I don't know what they call it.
it's like a little portfolio, like a little,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So she's got hers. It's online, and because they are such a good rescue, and they really do. They have great outreach programs. They have spay and neuter programs. They just do so much for people who are animal lovers like myself. They want to place these dogs with the right families, so they vet them very well to make sure that the family fits the dog and the dog fits the family. And they have so much success that they're popular, and people will refer friends and say, "Hey, if you want a pet, don't don't shop, adopt." And that's
Don't shop, adopt.
don't
So we're
shop.
going to definitely put that in the show notes because I know some
Yes,
families out there,
that would be great.
they want to know like if they could foster a dog or they might be collecting dogs or they may need to give some away but they don't want to leave them just out on the street or whatever. Can you tell us a little bit about the dog story?
My dog. Oh, okay. So I took a year off from fostering back in November. My last dog was placed in November. Her name was Ginger, and she just was just such a great dog. But I was tired, and I needed a break because it's a lot of
Hmm.
work. You got to
Yeah.
train them. You have to exercise them. You have to keep them social. So I took a year off, and in March, I kept seeing this dog at the gas station. And I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I need a break. So March went by and I saw her in like a few months later and she was pregnant.
Mm.
It's like, oh no. And I'm like, Lauren, if you take this dog, you're going to have to take a dog with puppies. So what are you going to do? So I thought about it, and then I didn't see her again for a long, 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 long time. And then the next time I saw her, which was in August, she was no longer pregnant. So I went around the area and asked, "Hey, have you seen puppies? Do you know this dog? Do you know who owns this dog?" They're like, "Oh no, we just feed her. She hangs out. She's just kind of a stray." There was a food truck out there, so she was in the trash at the food truck.
Mm-hmm.
Never found the puppies. But then one day I was driving home and I did see a little puppy in the street, RIP. And I said,
Mm.
that's it. I'm going to get her. So
Yeah.
August 19th, and she knew me by then because I had seen her at the gas station several times. I gave her like a little treat, pat her on the head. But yeah, I got her on the 19th. She came straight to me. She was like, I was waiting for you. Out of retirement, out of foster
Fate.
dog retirement.
Fate.
Yep. And yeah, got her in the program immediately. And they were like, we love her. She's great. And her application is out there already. Three Little Pitties, look her up. I wish I had some more information. So maybe if some of the listeners want to check her out. But she's got applications already. She'll probably be gone.
She's a hot commodity, but at least if you weren't aware of Three Little Pitties,
Yes.
this is something. I mean, when we think about falling for learning and getting our kids involved with the community, like this is something they
Mhm.
could do. They could help
Oh, yeah.
foster dogs. They can help, volunteer. Because the dogs are just out, and then unfortunately, like she said, the puppies. At least we know that one of them or more, probably more, because we don't know where the puppies are,
Mm-mm.
did not survive. So
Yeah.
we're doing a service for the community, and that could be a pathway, to a kid's career or something like that. So,
Mhm.
or just a lifelong hobby. I mean, it gives your life dimension and purpose or whatever,
Every
and
dog.
an additional purpose,
Yeah. I tell people every dog is an emotional support dog. When I'm having our
Mhm.
day, we can go play fetch. I feel instantly better. Just even
Yeah.
just taking her for a ride in the car, I feel instantly better. There's something about the way that dogs kind of like they're studying you. They want to know all about you. And something about the connection is just, yeah, it's therapy. So yeah, lots of young volunteers at the rescue too. So absolutely
Okay.
get your kids involved.
Okay. All right. So you're back with us.
Yeah.
Um, And so the school year has been underway. We've had lots of different interviews and stuff like that. What are you noticing this year? Like, what's going well? What's happening?
Going well. Well, I am self-contained this year. Last year, I'm sorry, I am departmentalized this year. Last year I was self-contained, so I taught all subjects. This year I'm only doing language arts and social studies,
Hmm.
which is less work in the sense of I don't have as much to plan for. Um,
Hmm.
but it's really opening up some space for me to do a little bit more of a deeper dive into language arts and what are some other resources and tools that are out there,
Yeah.
ways that I can better incorporate my language arts and my social studies together. So even though I miss having that intimate group, that core 20 kids, and that's all I have, and I can kind of
Yeah.
manage my time a little better now because I have that hard stop and you got to switch classes. I have 40
Hmm.
kids now. But this week, I think I have learned all their names because that was
Ooh.
wow.
When'd you start though?
We started August 18th. No, not 18th. August 11th. August 11th.
Okay.
So,
So a month and a half.
and I have an Isaiah and an Elijah, and I get those flip flopped all the time. I'm like, hey, they're both biblical names. I'm sorry, but
Well,
yeah,
it's just so funny. I haven't had that perspective. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've done middle, elementary, high school, and yeah. I mean, I think it's a long time, but I'm
mhm.
not gonna judge you.
Yeah, but I've never had to do 40 names.
No, no, no. I
You
understand.
know
It's
what
a,
I
it's
mean?
just
It's a
an
lot,
adjustment for you. It's twice of is what
and
you need to do. I'm not gonna say I didn't get kids mixed up. Still, I still got names mixed up, and yeah,
yeah,
um, just their look sometimes. And it's not always like that they look exactly alike, but something about them is the
Mhm.
same.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'll remind me every time I get mixed up, but I'll get it, sorry,
Hmm.
but okay.
But
And
little,
so how do you like just focusing on English, English language arts and history?
I like it. I think we're doing a science of reading. Our program is Amplify Reading, and I really love the program.
Okay.
So, the first year it was a little learning curve. I understood the concepts, but there's
Hmm.
lots of components and pieces, and I'm just trying to learn the core curriculum at the time.
Yeah.
Second year, I dabbled a little bit into the extra things. They had some supplementary materials and some additional resources. This year, I really am understanding better how to infuse all the things that we talk about science of reading throughout the day. Like even when we're like for names, for instance, just even helping the kids understand um, how names, because their origin stories are sometimes from other cultures or other languages, that they
Yeah.
don't follow the rules, our
Yes.
English language rules. And so just having the kids say, hey, my name has a tricky spelling, just
Yes.
having those kind of conversations with them about words, and having the kids really understand that there's a code to reading. And if you
Yes.
can break the code, you can read anything. If you
Yes.
understand, the process, the literal science of how to learn to read. So even though I have kids who are maybe they're not fluent readers, I love how I've been able to kind of help them have this mindset of even if you just can decode and segment words, that counts. So
Yes.
they're like, I can't read yet. I'm like, sure, you just read that word. Yes,
Yeah.
you had to go at cat, but you read it. That
You did.
counts.
Yes. I
So,
have had those conversations. As you know, I'm a interventionist for
mhm,
literacy,
mhm.
and I am working on my reading specialist credential.
You.
Yeah, so I'm working on that. I've already been trained in Orton Gillingham letters, which is, I always like to say what acronyms mean, but I can't remember right now.
Yeah,
LETRS.
which is why we have acronyms.
We
Right.
have the alphabet soup because we
Mhm.
don't have to remember what. Anyway, so we're yeah, we're working on that, and I've been getting like great training from my program
Mhm.
through my district, and then really good training from my, like, we have academies like for our interventionist once a month. We
Mhm.
go, and today on Friday we went to go see um one of our leaders, the leaders that is an interventionist. She's been an interventionist for 5 years to
Mhm.
teach. It's a group of us, about 10 of us watched her class.
Uh-huh.
Her and her instructional aide were teaching a small group and switching kids. It was about 6 of them. And it was just really good. She had so many layers of things, like
Mhm.
little Magna doodles for them to write on
Mhm.
when they were doing their auditory drill, where they had the, like, what letter makes the sound. So they
Mhm.
have to say M, and so they, on their little Magna doodle thing, they wrote M, and then
Oh.
they could erase it for the next one, and they're like, which letter, which letters or spells shh. So you could put SH on the Magna doodle and it erase.
Mhm.
So I was like, that is so nice. And they're segmenting, oral segmenting, where they're like at or pat. Then they had like a pipe cleaner, and it was like, it had like three bumps on it or something. Like, I don't know. So they could kind of like feel the three bumps, like,
Mhm. Oh,
oh,
I love
three sounds
that.
at. So they touched it three
Oh,
times.
yes. And
So
then,
it is like so many like layers of things, because I'm well, I was actually high school right before this position,
mhm.
but I actually don't keep well, I never taught, well, I taught a first grade class a long, long time ago, at a
Mhm.
private school before I started in public school. But I did grow up teaching kids to read, but I didn't have like the science of reading.
Mhm.
I didn't do it. I did it like systematically and as in some ways, but obviously there's so many layers to it. And
Right.
what's really important about it is when a student is struggling to learn how to read, to break that code, these extra modalities and
Mm,
manipulatives help them to grasp the concept. Because me just saying to you, at, you may not get it. And some kids get it and they don't need it. But the kids who need it, it's very helpful to have these different manipulatives so they could see you doing bat or
mhm.
using your arm or doing your at, like you're helping them through. And that's who I serve as an interventionist. If you're a struggling reader, that's so we need those extras. Um, yeah, because that is what they need
Yeah.
to really grasp the concept. Something's not connecting,
Mhm.
and trying all these different things helps them.
Yeah.
You know.
I just wrote down pick up pipe cleaners. I love
Yes,
it.
I learned so much by just going. That's like the best professional development, seeing other teachers,
Yes.
because even the way they've organized things, actually, it's just seeing them deliver something. I may be delivering it a little bit differently,
Mhm.
but but that is helpful to see the way they deliver and interpret that same lesson. But then also just how they organize things, how they have things up, all of those
Mhm.
things were very helpful for me. So I was very excited to be able to see that. And they had something in the book, the teacher's edition, that was saying manipulative letters, right? And
Mhm.
I got some magnetic letters, but they were all separated and they were like 7 S's, 7 T's, like all in a row, right? But it just took so much time. I would be like, okay, let's pass out the S's. Let's pass out the T's.
Oh,
Let's pass out the A's, right? We did it and it worked, but takes a long time. And we only have 30 minutes for the
mhm.
kids, right? But finally, I saw it had magnetic trays, like cookie sheets from
Mhm.
the 99-cent store, which is no longer 99 cents. But anyway, magnetic cookie sheets.
Uh-huh.
And then we had the alphabet typed out, right? And then it was very similar to the magnetic letters. And then you put them on top of it on the tray. So it's all magnetic.
Mhm.
I'll show a picture. I need to show a picture, but
Yeah.
it just was such a
Same.
easier way
Yeah.
to organize it. So I
Right.
got 6 of those printouts and then magnetized those letters
Mhm.
on top of the typed letters, right? And
Mhm.
then put it on the cookie tray. And so then now kids will have their whole ABC alphabet already organized with
Yeah.
magnets. And then you could pull down the S, pull down the A, right? Rather than let me pass out a S, let me pass out a A.
Right.
Ooh,
Right.
I forgot to pass out the B's. Okay.
Right.
So
Oh,
now we have everything A through Z there, and we could easily make cat and then put it
mhm.
back at the CAT, put it back. If we
Yeah.
just need to change the C to B, pull down the B,
Right.
right? And so it was just
Oh, that's.
so nice to have those materials. And I'll
Mhm.
actually put those in the show notes so you'll
Yeah, I love that.
see. Yeah, so it's just so much easier to organize it, easier for the kids to put it back together at the end
And get
and store it.
cookie sheets. Okay. I got pipe
Yeah.
cleaners and cookie sheets now.
The Rewrite Method and the Rewrite Method Workbook are your go-to resource for helping kids to learn to fall in love with writing. It has the tips, tools, resources, strategies, and skill building activities to help kids fall out of writing hate and into loving to write. Get your book set today.
We have Today, Tiffany's tip on play-based learning.
Movement is another way. Just maybe making playing like a freeze dance type of thing where you're like have the music going and then you have like a magic word that makes everybody freeze, or you're counting and you're jumping around, and you're hopping and you're counting as you hop, and just all kinds of fun ways that are learning that aren't as the conventional way that you
Yes.
typically think of, sitting at a desk with your pencil and your book and your paper and things like that, kind of thinking outside of the box in that way. And I also wanted to share some of the Instagram accounts that really inspire me when I'm trying to come up with ideas and things to do with the kids. Just three of them. One of them is where learning meets play. So it's like where underscore learning underscore meets underscore play.
Okay.
That's a really cool teacher in Australia, actually. And she has this big, beautiful classroom with so many just engaging toys and manipulatives and textures and colors, and it's just like a dream. So I like to see what she comes up with, what she sets out for the children. Each day she just makes it so beautiful and engaging, and it's like I want to I want to go to her class and like do some of the activities. I'm so inspired by her. And then there's Mulberry House Play School, and they are also a play-based learning preschool, and it's just beautiful how everything is set up for the kids. It's very engaging, and the kids just their creativity is on full display. They are just in there creating and playing and building and making all day long in such a fun environment. So I get a lot of inspiration from that Instagram account, and she has an amazing Amazon storefront
Mm-hmm.
where you see all the materials that she has at her school. You could buy them, some of them to kind of help your kids, but I I really find her really helpful. And then another one is called Tinker Wonder Play, and she's lots of creative ideas as well for play based learning. So I just think that it just helps the child become more engaged. And as we mentioned in another tip about noticing what your kids are interested in and incorporating that into play and learning, it could be really powerful in giving them the competitive advantage, like I know you are all
Yes.
about sharing.
I mean, it's so amazing. Like, and so I have in the parent forums and stuff, I see a lot of people talking about their kids struggling to read and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Now, computer programs are great. And I'm saying, yes, use the computer programs, but when
Mhm.
don't be exclusive to computer